might get started. What do we think, guys? Yeah,
For
sounds
sure.
good. So
Okay.
quick introduction to myself. My name's Ned Appleton. I'm the head of sales here at Apxium, really focused in on the Australian market. So I've been in the industry for a long time. I was an accountant once upon a time, but then went on to spend about 20 years in software looking after firms. And one of the people I've worked with for a very long time I'm thrilled to have him along today, is Jordan Dinning, Director of Bartons Wealth and Business Advisory. Welcome, Jordan.
Thanks, Ned. Great to be here.
Yeah, do you want to just give the guys a bit of an introduction to yourself and what Bartons do and what you might do a bit differently?
Yeah, look, so we're a chartered accounting firm based in Adelaide, probably 45 staff. There's 5 owners, or privately owned. We have a holistic business, so a full accounting and business advisory division, but also we have our own AFSL, independent AFSL, and our own credit license. So we do lending, financial planning, and accounting. So specialise in medical and also in the SME space. And we've also got a self-managed super fund division as well. So pretty broad range of clients.
Yeah, fantastic. Thanks, Jordan. And also want to welcome Gabor. Gabor's been with Apxium really since the start. And he was a key in actually the launch of AuditSafe back a few years ago now. And so he's a wealth of understanding about the platform. He's going to be taking us through the demonstration today. Welcome, Gabor.
Thank you, Ned. Appreciate it.
Excellent. Cool. Let's keep moving. Just making sure my screen is sharing okay.
No, I'm not seeing anything.
It didn't drop out the share when we came in. Excellent. How about now?
Yep.
Great. Excellent.
It certainly is.
Fantastic. So who are Apxium? So we really specialize in accounting system data capture and really provide a whole range of tools to help accounting firms. And really where we start off was the Collect platform. We'll cover that in a little bit more detail a bit later on. But that's to help manage debtors. But then what happened is clients started to give us a lot of feedback about things that they would like. And that was really the launch of AuditSafe, which really some of our existing clients telling us that, hey, is there something we can do to provide this service better for their clients? And then very recently we've launched TaxPay, which is here to help ATO debt funding, and we'll cover that in a bit later on. But really want to keep focused on AuditSafe initially. So I thought first off we'd just cover, hey, why should you offer audit cover for your clients, and what's in it for your clients, and really what's in it for you. For me, what's in it for your clients is that this is a bit of a reverse lottery. It is a rare event to get one of these ATO audits. However, it can be really costly when it does occur. And so your clients want that comfort to know that they're covered if it occurs. So they can sleep easy. It's also obviously a deductible expense. Hey, Jordan, why do you think your clients take up the cover? What's in it for them?
Look, I think there's a lot of noise in the marketplace around the increased areas of focus for the ATO, and especially around rental properties. Depreciation claims, repairs and maintenance, all that sort of stuff that raises the flag to the ATO. And I think when a client has an extraordinary year and has a lot of change in their circumstance, they sort of feel a little bit uneasy around what sort of flags that might raise to the ATO, even though they're not doing anything wrong. So it just gives a bit of peace of mind for them that if something is to come up, they've got the cover there.
Yeah, fantastic. And one of the things that ATO do really well every year is they advertise their list of the industries that they're currently targeting, which is actually quite a good sales mechanism for firms that provide this out to their clients, because it really does, help their client understand that where the risks are. But there's also something in it for you as the accounting firm. And so for me, I kind of go, you're exposed anyway. So you're currently running risk if you don't offer it, because your clients are going to get audited, and you need a mechanism to help them manage that. So if your clients don't accept, what they're actually doing is choosing to self-cover. So just by offering it, you're making them make a choice. And so if they then have an audit, it's then harder for them to object to the fees that you have to charge to help them manage that. Also, just know that the vast majority of firms do offer it. It's obviously then a profit center for your firm. And for me, one thing I think is really beneficial is that it helps make your admin team profitable. I know admin teams can, really struggle to see themselves as a profit driver in a firm, and I think providing this type of service is a really good way to help admin really show their value to the business. Jordan, what's in it for Bartons? Where do you sort of see the cover?
Look, yeah, as you said, it really is a profit center for us. Yeah, we've got 2,800 client groups that sit across the platform. So, and we try and offer it to most of them, or if not all. So for us, it's just a risk versus reward. We've got a fairly long history now at Apxium, so we're into our 4th year, just about to roll over again, and at the end of the day, we'll book a provision for potential audit activity, but it's almost never the case that we need to call on that provision anyway. So it just becomes a pure bottom line result for us.
Yeah, fantastic. So one of the things that if you're currently using another provider, technology has advanced, and the way in which we do business also has really kicked off. Obviously cloud's here, and so firms want to be able to connect to these applications through modern technologies. Automation is obviously one of the key buzzwords at the moment, and AI, machine learning. But automation just means that more things should happen without manual intervention, and really that's what you want to be driving out of a software tool. And also the integration and being able to get your client groups into the platform easily. So in the current world, a lot of firms do use an audit insurance provider. So that involves potentially quite a cumbersome process where you do have to do a lot of administration work. You've got to export out to Excel and do a lot of data manipulation. And then you do have to offer it to all of your clients. And so it really means that you're a little bit out of control. So there's not been much innovation in the audit insurance space. And if your clients do have an audit, there is a very rigid claims process. And so really that then takes your time, which you can possibly make another claim for, but it really does mean that you're quite bogged down in the actual, the doing of providing the insurance. Jordan, it's been 4 years by the sounds of it. How do you remember the previous world before AuditSafe?
Yeah, look, so we were with another provider for 8 or 9 years before that, and it was very much, as you say, a manual process. So we would have someone come in, we'd have manual spreadsheets, manual grouping that they would roll each year. So obviously, every time you have clients come on and off, there was a manual process around that as well. So you'd be having meetings with the provider per director group, so that way they could sit down and go through their own client lists, and so it was a very manual process. In opposition to that, with Apxium, we rely heavily on their team and just say, here's the data, here's the export, and it sort of comes back pretty much ready to go, which is a lot easier for us. Probably is half, if not more, of a time saving in terms of that data review each year. It's the same thing with every software, right? Garbage in, garbage out. But we try and be a lot more diligent with our grouping and our database as we onboard clients and offboard clients, which obviously makes the end result better. But it is a lot more streamlined with that data upload as opposed to working through spreadsheets and whatnot.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Jordan. So let's enter AuditSafe. So first of all, we'd just like to take you through and just talk about what AuditSafe is. And it is a bit of a fundamental shift in the way that you provide this out to your clients. So it is not insurance. What it is a prepaid compliance service that your firm agrees to, as part of a fixed fee, is provide this compliance review, and you inform them about what's going to happen if and when there's an audit. And then as part of that service, you're then agreeing that if they do have an audit, you'll go and do that particular work. So whilst it's not insurance, it really is the same outcome for your client. And that's really what they're buying, is they're buying assurance that if there's an audit, you'll go and do the work. So it's the same outcome for the firm, for your clients, but the means in which that's delivered is incredibly different. Jordan, just love your input there, because when we talk about prepaid compliance service, that's a bit of a mouthful for one. But what about your clients? Do they sort of understand when you made the switch, or what the difference is?
Look, to be honest, I think they just noticed the change of name, but they weren't that overly interested in what the product was or how it looked. And I still don't think they do, to be honest. At the end of the day, we've offered for their own familiarity, we'd offered a service with a set amount of a fee and then a set amount of cover. And the fundamental part of that was exactly the same for the client. It was a different logo, it was a different color scheme. At the end of the day, they've still got an invoice with a charge and a cover level. So for them, it felt no different.
Yeah, great call out. So you might be wondering, where does this fit? Is this legal? So first of all, yes, we did a lot of research to make sure that this was okay. We heavily engaged lawyers that went to ASIC and a bit of backwards and forwards, obviously, as you'd expect with ASIC, but they approved the approach. Not only did they approve the approach, they then 6 months after we went live, they came back and did a go live review to make sure that we were delivering as we indicated as part of our pre-work. And so they reviewed, and they then again reviewed and approved the means of providing this. So you can see on the right there that this is not financial advice. So as a result of that, it's not an insurance policy, and therefore it provides you then, because it's not insurance, it's not as regulated. It really provides you with your platform to do with as you choose. Which is really quite powerful. We'll talk through some of those options as we go through today, and as Gabor takes you through the demonstration. But this is much more of your platform, and you can choose to do with it as you will. You can price it, you can choose the cover, or you can choose to offer it or not to particular clients.
I think one of the things that's really important with that, sorry to cut you off, Ned. We're a 60-year-old firm, so we've got legacy clients from a long time ago. We've got a big spread of age. We've got people on pensions, we've got people in retirement, we've got all those, from full scale businesses all the way down to people winding out. And when you look at the percentage of conversion at that end, you're sending out a product to something that's not relevant when you're having to offer it. Whereas you can actually pull all that back and just go, we know this is not actually the right product for this person, and it doesn't create a conflict in saying, oh, we just had to send it to you because we have to by law. We can actually extract those people out and not offer the product.
Yeah, it's a great call. So yeah, one of the insurance providers out there does require the firm to go and promote it out to every single client group. But a whole bunch of clients do have cover already in their existing insurance policies. So here's one of your clients that has already a policy that you're then being forced to then promote a separate policy to them. Kind of sounds a bit crazy to me, but hey, Gabor, have you got any comments on that? Because you're around when all this happened.
Yeah, I was, absolutely. And it was something that, as the history of the product is really us reacting to what our clients wanted. So they approached us. We were already doing the collections. We were doing our integration. They were pretty impressed with the way we integrated into various PM systems, MyOb, Zero, etc. And they said, look, we've got this really painful way of having to do this cover. Can you come up with something different? And it was a double-pronged problem to solve. One was the technology, which we'll talk to in a minute when I do the demonstration. But the other one was also legal. We had to make sure that as we were approaching things, we weren't perceived to be offering a financial product. And ASIC, because of the way they operate, where you can approach them and talk to them about what you're doing, discussed it with us, saw what we were building, and signed off on it. So, and then the other thing I'd like to mention is you mentioned earlier that technology has moved a long way, and Apxium is an indication of that. It is a demonstration of that technological move. But also these days, if there is an audit or review, because of all the document management solutions and the way that you now work, it's very easy to reply to these audits and reviews. So on top of the fact that, yes, you might have one, they're relatively quick most of the time to reply for information. So you don't really need to spend too much time. Back to you, Ned.
Yeah, just bringing Jordan next. I think you made a good comment about the being able to make replies to audits a bit quicker. Jordan, what's your tech stack, and how do you find that being able to reply quickly to clients, has that changed?
Yeah, look, obviously, I mean, we've got a fully integrated cloud solution now. So with a zero PM and then FYI docs and everything else in between that sort of bolts on around that ecosystem. So the ability to find documents a lot quicker, the work paper stack that sits behind everything these days, you very rarely, I mean, depending on the size of the client, obviously, we've had 15 audits in the last 4 years across 2,800 groups. So certainly not an area that we're getting slammed in, but we've most of those audits have sort of come in under sort of 5 hours of work, as opposed to 5-6 years ago they were more the 15, 18 hour sort of mark. So definitely a lot more efficient than what they used to be.
Yeah, great call. So 16 audits in 4 years, 4 a year. So when we come back later on, Jordan, because we've got a bit of a rough return on investment calculator, and
Sure.
so having some of those numbers that we can sort of share to kind of say, hey, what's potentially the outcome for the firms on the call today would be great.
Yeah, of course.
So we do specialize in accounting system data, and so we integrate with all the major providers in the Australian market, and we can also do CSV as well. So what that means is we can really get the data from your source system into our platform, and then as you get more and more clients, we can then streamline the process to then re-get that data in, so you can keep on offering it to new clients. But yeah, you can see we integrate with them. Do you know, probably should change that logo there, Gabor.
I think you're right.
I just saw,
I saw that.
I don't know why I didn't see it.
People know what it means. It'll do.
What it is. Yeah, great.
APS. That's APS for anyone online who happens to be on APS. That's what it's about.
Yeah, so here we really are challenging the status quo, providing a much richer technology platform, as Gabor's just about to show. So before we go and do the product tour, we love spending time on the product because I think it gives you a good feel for how it's going to work. Let's just recap on what we're talking about here. So the Apxium platform is not a product, it is a service offering, so it's not an insurance. This means that it's a significant increase in the income and profitability for your firm. There is no legalistic claims process and no excess payable. So if you have a client that goes and does an audit, you just go and do the work. You don't have to then go to another body and justify what you're claiming. So as part of it, we're going to review your data so you can see your groups. If there's anything that's not quite right, you can either fix it in your source system and then re-import, or you can fix it in Apxium, and then it's going to make sure you're offering the right entity groups, the right cover. Because it's your platform, you can exclude or include different client groups. You can differentiate different clients based on risk. So I think, Jordan, you mentioned it before we started today about potentially how when you got a client who is at high risk, that you might price them a bit differently. Have you got any comment there?
Yeah, look, so obviously over the course of the years, we've had clients selling businesses and that sort of thing, which is obviously a huge risk area when you're selling businesses in the millions of dollars. And we're working through small business CGT concessions and whatnot. And, all of a sudden you've got someone paying not very much tax on a massive transaction. Being able to pull that out as a standalone, well, not policy as such, but a standalone item and price that accordingly to the risk in that year, as opposed to lumping them in with the standard turnover category that they could sit in. So having that flexibility around pricing has taken away the risk from us as a director group to say, well, we know there's probably a high chance this person's going to get an audit. There's a very large transaction that's taken place. We want to be sure that the client's covered, but also we're covered as well. So that flexibility is fantastic.
Yeah.
And I think on the point before, in terms of the claims process too, with the old system, we used to have to upload WIP reports, and you'd have to go through those like a fine-tooth comb to make sure that there was nothing in there that had the wrong narration, and you'd get challenged back from the insurers to, well, that seems to have taken too long, or that seems excessively high for what the audit what the audit was for. Whereas in this process, it's a lot different. There is no risk on that side either.
Yeah, great. Thanks for those inputs. So we do provide the end-to-end platform. So what we mean by that is through Apxium, we're going to make the offer, which your clients can accept online. So it's all a really nice workflow for your client, which Gabor will show in a second. Not only that, when the client pays, we're going to automatically and fully reconcile that back into your PM system. So we're going to actually go and create those invoices for you. But we got full transparent reporting, so you can see who's accepted and who hasn't. So it's a really good firm and client experience. But not only that, probably the as exciting bits. Obviously, year one, you're going to have a bit of work to do to get the groups right. But the key is in year two, the system's going to automatically roll over. And so what that means is that firms can very quickly just go through and automatically reoffer it to all the clients that accepted last year. And then you can spend a bit more time on, hey, who didn't accept. And so we can focus our time and resources on those to promote the platform. So it's much less work year on year using Apxium. But probably what we'll do now is get Gabor to step in and start a bit of a demonstration, so you can kind of get a feel for how the platform works. Gabor, are you ready to go and share screen?
Absolutely. There we are. You should be seeing the AuditSafe dashboard.
Cool.
You are, I'm assuming?
Yep, perfect.
Excellent. Thank you. Hi, Brendan. Welcome to the meeting. Looks like your camera's for. Oh, there we go. We've got the right. So you're seeing my screen. Over the next 10 minutes or so, my intent is to take you through a quick overview of the system. It is driven by technology. Apxium is a development house, and we have all of our internal developers. So we're always building new tools into our solutions. And in many ways, AuditSafe is my favorite solution. It's really innovative, it's clever, it's intuitive, and it makes you money. How much more can you ask of something? What I intend to do is not do a training session. I don't expect you to walk away knowing every bell and whistle inside the system, but I would really like after 10 minutes for you to understand just how simple it is, how it integrates with your PM system, therefore what is the data flow, and what is the client experience and what is your experience. So very quickly, what you're looking at is your dashboard. And this dashboard is your AuditSafe dashboard. And if you might see up in the top blue line, it's got CBD accounting, and then it's got collect and AuditSafe. So depending on which of our solutions you use, you can click between them. In this instance, we're just going to talk to AuditSafe. But if you happen to using collect as well, when you just click on collect, and then you've got your payments and receivables and professional fee funding dashboard. In this case, though, what you're looking at is the data coming over from your PM system. Now, it is integrated to the extent that it reads and writes into these systems. So whether you're in MyOBE or GreatSoft, or almost certainly more likely, you might be on Xero, Xero Blue and Xero Green, or XPM, or FYI these days as well. We're really reading the data out of those PM systems and out of the ledger, and we present that to you automatically. That is, once the data is in the system, it's reading it automatically. You're presented with this dashboard. You can see your client groupings. You've got your partners up here, so you can filter per partner. And this particular aspect of the dashboard is constantly refreshing. So if you happen to, let's say you're in GreatSoft and you update a grouping, then it will automatically reflect in the dashboard that you've updated a grouping, you've brought in a new client, etc. On the left, you will see that there's a menu, and the menu is both a process-driven menu, but also an information gathering menu. So some of the buttons give you information, and others are actions, such that you need to do something with them. Overall, very simple, very little to learn. Generally, we run these training sessions up for firms, and they're good to go within minutes. It's that simple, as you'll shortly see. So very quickly, let me talk you through what happens. Information comes in, data extracted from accounting package. Once the information is here, you need to make an offer to the client, but first you need to know, what is the pricing I'm offering? So if you go to the pricing table, this is a table, it's a lookup table, which essentially is your own to set up. Let me log back in. So it's your own to set up, which means go back into pricing. There we go. And you decide on your own pricing. Jordan mentioned that you're very much masters of your own destiny with this one. It is a prepaid compliance service. You decide how to price up your service, who to offer it to, and indeed you can do per client risk-based pricing as well. It's your service if you choose to change the pricing for a particular client. But nonetheless, here's your pricing table. Now, one of the interesting things we do is we've got so many firms using the solution that we give you a report that shows you what other firms are doing. So you're able to look at, what are other firms on the solution doing, and there's quite innovative ways of pricing the solution, the service up. Some you literally have two, 5 or 6 lines. Others might have 20. It's just a different way of seeing it. But in the end, you have your maximum coverage and the fee that you intend to charge for that, and you can have, as I say, any pricing in here you want. But once you've got your pricing, it's as simple as going in and offering the service to your client. So we're going to choose Barracuda. We're going to create a subscription. As you can see, the system's already chosen a billing entity. It's already picked an email address up out of your practice management solution. So if that's not right, you can change it. But all you really need to do is price them up. We're going to go with business less than $1 million. We're going to give them $8,000 worth of cover for $330. If I wanted to add other entities, I could, but I'm just going to move straight ahead and submit it. So that is now submitted. And you can see on the left, we've moved from up the top to now we have one submitted and one in offered. So if we go to submitted, we can make the offer, or indeed we can do other things. We can delete it, etc. Simple as that. Make the offer. Yes, the client now receives an email. The way the system's designed is that it's automated. So once you send out the offer, it sends reminders automatically, and it sends a further 2 reminders. So here we are. We can now look at the email that was sent to the client. Now, remember, Ned did say it's all plug and play. It comes with all the documents pre-worked, comes with all the legals, it comes with the payment gateway, everything is there, and of course the integration, which will become very interesting in a minute as soon as we accept it. So I'm the client. I click the link. I'm in my dashboard instantly. I don't have to enter any passwords or usernames. I'm in my dashboard. Now, again, if I'm a client of a firm that uses some of our other solutions, then my menu structure is a little bit more complex. I can look at my current invoices. Might look at my installments, my funded installments. I can look at other relationships I have with the firm. But if all I have is AuditSafe, then all I see is AuditSafe. So there we are, AuditSafe. Here, I can look at an FAQ. What is this all about? I can look at the terms of service, which is the detailed T's and C's. Again, I quickly downloaded it here, but we're not going to go through it. In fact, you're really welcome to meet with Ned and myself to go through these in greater detail. But fundamentally, the client can accept it. Do you wish to accept this prepaid compliance service for these 4 entities of yours? They can decline it, which is great, because then if they get an order to review, you can point to that and say, well, you declined it. Now I'm going to have to charge you for it. Alternatively, they can pay for it. And this is when it gets really smart. So the plug and play, they can pay with an electronic transfer or a credit card. If they pay with a credit card, which is quicker for me, so I'm going to do that. I'm going to hit next. And as soon as they do that, it asks, do you wish to do this? And the client hits confirm. And there it is. Thank you. Your payment's been received. We instantly send them a tax receipt. So the system generates a tax receipt to send them. You do not have to develop that. But more than that, it then instantly changes to show that the cover is now live. The tax receipt is available in the dashboard anytime. And from a client's perspective, they now have an active cover of your prepaid compliance service, and they essentially have their tax receipt. So from your perspective, what's happened is we've now moved the client from the data to submitted to offered, and now they're accepted. As you can see, they're sitting in accepted. So if we go there, we can see that has been accepted by the client. What happens next is super smart, because what you'd expect now is you're going to have money land in your bank account. In this case, you're going to have $330 land in your bank account, and you need to account for that. And what Apxium does is it goes into your practice management solution and again automates the generation of the invoice and matches that up. So it does your payment and bank reconciliation on these payments automatically. Really clever stuff. So in this case, let's say you use Xero, Apxium will have automatically generated a Xero Blue invoice for $330, called it AuditSafe, and matched up the bank feed and done the bank reconciliation on that. You do not need to send that invoice to the client because the receipt has already been sent to them, as I demonstrated in the earlier picture. So it's all done. Effectively from here, you just go through through the list. As Jordan said, they have got quite a lot of groups at Bartons, and he prefers to make them all an offer. Now, some of them are individually priced, but effectively you go through the list and then send them all out. I'll quickly let you know, without going into detail, there is a shorthand way of doing that as well. So you don't have to click through every one of them. We've also built a one-page dashboard where you can effectively, very quickly, just check the data you've got, validate emails, compare them from last year to this year, and do bulk events. So you can bulk update and bulk send. So you don't necessarily have to click on every one of those. And that is super, super useful when you're rolling over for the new year, because as Ned correctly said, there is a little bit of work to set up in your first year, and Jordan can certainly talk to that once I've shown you the system. But then in second and subsequent years, it becomes really quick because all you're doing is validating the data. Have partners changed? Is the email address correct? Yes, it is. Do I want to change the pricing? You may well do. And if you do want to change the pricing in second and subsequent years, it's so easy, because all you have to do is go into your pricing table, and then if you want to update pricing for the new year, you're able to essentially change the pricing in the next year, say from 110 to, let's say, 150, and you can just hit one button and it updates all of your offers to the new pricing in the next year. How much easier can it be than that? So really well designed system. So effectively, you can see all your data from your PM system live. You make the offers, clients receive them, they purchase it online. The system then automatically generates a matching invoice on the purchase. The final thing I need to show you, without necessarily going through everything, is the final step once a client has accepted. Is you, as per what Ned mentioned earlier, is you do need to generate a risk report for the client. And it's very simple to do. If I now go to that acceptance I just did for you online, I can go to send risk report. And here, all I need to do is choose the particular risks that are relevant for this client. And I'm ticked all of them in this case for this demonstration, so I can show you what happens next. I hit OK, and the system then says risk report emailed and has been sent. And if I go into this client's dashboard where I was earlier, where I showed you that the client had accepted that, if I now refresh the dashboard, there will be a fourth button and there's a risk report that's been lodged in there. The reason the risk report is there is because in the end, you are offering a prepaid compliance service, and the service consists of two sections. One is the generation of the bespoke risk report for your client, and the other one, and the primary one, and the one that they're interested in, which is the offer of the service that should they get an audit or review during this period, then you will make good on that work up to the limit that they purchased the service. So it's really two things. The one they're interested in is, of course, the cover, and the cover to make sure that you help them through their audit or review. But the other one that you do need to do is the risk report. Very quick though, and remembering you only have to do that for those that accepted it. So out of generally out of a set of clients that you make the offer to, 15 to 25% will accept it. That's just sort of the standard numbers. And so therefore you only have to do the risk report for those. You only do it right at the end once you've made all your offers. It's very easy, very quick. And at that point, you're done for this year. Next year, we roll your data over. We do that data matching I showed you in the other screen, where we check emails and everything to make sure that certain data has changed. You validate it, and then you're able to send that on bulk. So again, as I mentioned, next year is super, super simple. So Ned, that's my demonstration. Anything you want me to focus on before I finish the demo?
Go off mute. No, Gabor, that was fantastic. Not many software products that you can actually do a full end-to-end demonstration in. I think that took you about 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
But that really speaks to the simplicity of the platform. Whilst it's really well architectured to make it super simple and follow the bouncing ball. When we do training events, they're really 30 to 45 minutes with Q&A to get those
Exactly
offers
right.
made out there. It's the most time is spent is more just going through and making those offers to each of the groups. The product itself is super intuitive.
All right. Well, I'll stop sharing and back to you.
But back to me. Let's make sure I've got my right screen on. So then probably the next step is just to really start having a bit of a look at the commercials. And so before I take you through that, I thought it was really just interesting to just look at how insurance works generally. And so I went to everyone's favorite friend at the moment, ChatGPT, and said just, what are the rule of thumb on the insurance industry? And as you can see here, obviously insurance businesses try to run a bit of a profit. They're a business. They also do have overhead and expenses. So what that means is I think your margin of safety is somewhere between 30 and 50% just by stripping out another business's profit and overhead ratios means that there's a real big margin of safety here. But for firms with low audit risk, this tilts even further. And you heard Jordan mention earlier that last 3 years he's had 16 audits, and some of them only take a few hours to do. So really, I think one of the call outs for you on the call today is how many audits have you had in the past 3 years? There's little to say the ATO is going to massively, even though they've got an extra $1 billion, a lot of that's going to their technology to front foot the audits, as opposed to actually boots on the ground to be able to go and conduct massive audits. Jordan, you got any comments there?
Yeah, I think just reiterating what you said before, like I was just looking at some data while Gabor was talking, and last year, obviously, with momentum, last year was our biggest year for policy, for take up on the service, and we had no audits for anyone that was covered. So just sorry, and you look at the numbers, we had $1.8 million of cover out there for clients. Or $1.8 million worth of risk, if you want to call it that, and we had zero impact. So clients are happy, clients are covered, low audit risk. We've always known what our audit, percentage is across the client base, and it's sort of less than 0.5% anyway of the total client numbers. And with that sort of 20-21% take up rate, we were unlucky to get 3 in the previous year in reality. So yeah,
great call out. So how does the platform work? It's pretty simple. We charge you 20% of the revenue you drive. So if you don't get any audit cover, you don't pay a cent. So we charge 20%. We actually deposit, so all the funds are automatically deposited directly into your bank account. So you're getting all this cash up front, and then we invoice monthly after the fact, based on the fees you've collected. Just a quick little quote here from another Adelaide firm, AFM. So this, they're sort of saying, this is the easiest software that they've ever used, which is pretty good because like most firms now, they're running about 40, 50 different apps. And obviously high profit margin, they only had the single audit. And that was for, like Jordan, similar story, that, the ones without the cover are the ones that probably need it the most. Quick little quote there. What we're going to send to you after today is a bit of a calculator. You can kind of see the vibe here. So what it enables you to do is enter your client groups, number of groups, then you work out, we've got some percentage calculations, and it really does just spit out some numbers that you could then discuss internally to go, hey, what might this future look like by making this small change and the additional profit. So it really does turn on its head, and most firms would say it's a good decision. So what does implementation look like? So we've got a free sandbox environment, so you can go and have a look at your data in it, and you can go test the end-to-end process. Until you do go live, anything you do in the sandbox doesn't actually send to a client, so it's really just there for testing. And then once you're satisfied, we turn it on, and as part of your go live, we provide all training support. There is no implementation fees. We are your business partner in this event. Obviously, the better you go, the better we go. And so we've already drafted you emails out to clients, blog sites, all the information you can have to really make this a big success. But we just wanted to identify what is the number one reason why firms don't proceed. And it really is about risk, perceived risk or actual risk. Every year the ATO has their list. They promote out, they've got more funds, more money to go and do it. However, we recognise that while some firms can accept that risk, there are other firms where it's a bit more of a challenge. So obviously in partnership environments, you might have one partner out of 4 that is more concerned than the others, or a bit more conservative. And if one partner says no, it's very hard to get that 100% agreement. So rather than have no answer, we did want to come to the market and sort of say, hey, there is another provider in the market who has looked at the same issue, and they've done something incredibly different. So what they've done is offered more of a global cover, where instead of having individual policies for your clients to pick and choose, instead, why doesn't the entire firm get coverage for every single client? So I just want to welcome Brendan, who's just going to take us through what he's done with his product, AuditSafe. And before we get started, Brendan, why do you think everyone in the market starts their name with audit?
Because it's the best way to straight away tell people what you do, I think.
I agree. It's an interesting little fact, isn't it? But over to you, Brendan, to take us through what you're doing.
Yeah, thanks, mate. Yeah, look, it's some really good points around what you've said today, and how tax audit is reviewed with from the ATO's perspective as well as the accounting practices. So, and that's where I think ours sits perfectly with potentially people that want to have the best of both worlds, like have your platform, but also have potentially the protection of insurance behind them. I mean, firstly, just very, very quickly, the reason why people take out insurance is for the unexpected, not the expected. That's what insurance is. And that's where I guess, you weigh up your options of, what it is. Now, I just giving you a little bit of background because before I get into our policy, but from us, our policy is being really successful the way we've structured it, purely because of the unexpected. We've had ATO blitzes on accounting practices, where one of our practices that we've got as a client, they had 500 client groups. They received a letter from the ATO doing 200 reviews in one hit as a blitz, and that cost a lot of money, and our product saved them from that perspective. Now, that's not the norm, but they are doing it, and I know the ATO are doing blitzes. So again, insurance is there for the unexpected, not the expected. So that's what you just got to keep in mind as well, to do that. Now, our policy is very, very different to what's out there in the marketplace. We believe our policy is how insurance should be offered, especially with tax audit insurance, and that is the practice actually takes out a policy. They own the policy, and it's at a very, very fractional rate of what a standalone individual policy would be, over 90% savings of what an individual policy premium would be. And the policy always protects 100% of all reviews and notifications from the ATO, irrespective of who it's to. So it's very, very simple, and all clients are protected from that automatically. And that includes any new clients that they take on throughout the term, automatically protected at no additional cost. We don't get any private client information. There's no sharing, which is a major issue right now with Privacy Act issues, where a lot of practices that use alternative options for tax audit, where they're asking to provide private client information, they're actually not getting the client's permission, to share that information, which is causing some major breaches and some major penalties right now with that. We also, from a self-managed super fund perspective, we also have penalty protection cover, which for trustees, if they have been found in breach of the SIS Act. We're the first and only insurance company that actually does that as well, and it's an additional. It's included in the policy, and we believe ours is the most comprehensive policy on the market because we have everything in there, and our claims process is simply just takes 20 seconds. You lodge the notification, and it's a set and forget process. So there's no administration from our perspective, and there's less if you intend to go out and you want to invoice your clients. Then obviously you use Apxium. Great option for that. Obviously that solution, whilst having the protection of an insurance policy behind you at a fraction of the rate, at a fraction of the cost. So yeah, that's pretty much it in a nutshell. It's not complex, but you can absolutely have a great policy, and we help you. Perfect timing, and Ed, we can help you build your own policy too, where it can really mold to your business of how you want to operate. And we've got some big practices that have turnover of like 500 million a year upwards that use our policy, and they absolutely love it because it provides some great value, and we can tailor make it to suit your practice, and that's those areas there is exactly how we can provide it. Yeah, so it's pretty good, and and we've got down there coming soon cyber legal and medical legal expenses, only because the way that we structured it is so successful and popular with practices and associations that we are now about to launch the same sort of structure, pricing and that with cyber and legal expenses. So it's very, very good.
Awesome. Thanks, Brendan. So just getting back to, just to recap, there is a margin of error here with other insurance providers that you can really take with confidence to look at these options. So what are your options? So first of all, you could choose not to provide cover to your clients, and but I guess feedback is that you're exposed anyway for these audit risks. So you can use a traditional insurance model. So then another business is then profiting off your clients. Then, as you saw with Brendan, use AuditSafe, and then you've got a global cover across your clients. And most firms increase their price by every year, so you can just increase your price by a little bit more, and then you've got a global cover. And/or you can use AuditSafe and move to a high profit margin. And you can use AuditSafe and AuditSafe in combination, where you can have that global cover, but you can still look at some cost recovery by getting clients to still opt into some their own insurance as well. The choice is yours. So we are here to help. I've been involved in lots of partner group meetings. They get quite robust with the partner groups to help them navigate which way to go, and happy to help your firm as well. Jordan, you got any insight? Like how did your firm decide on which way to go? Did you all sit around a table and work it out, or did you go in with a baseball bat and get them into submission?
Yeah, I think it was more that. No, look, so we obviously have a board process, but when you've got good data on your client group and you know what's happening within your client environment, it's a pretty easy decision to take a cover of some description anyway. And because we've been 9 years with the previous provider and then now 4 with AuditSafe, we had a lot of data to support the decision. So it really became a case of the pure revenue driver and profit driver was the main decision. We've got the perceived risk anyway, which, like I said, across 2,800 clients, 16 audits in 4 years is not a lot of risk, but it means we get to put a bit more money in the pocket. So it was a very easy sell at board level. The baseball bat was under the table just in case.
Yeah, fantastic. Probably a bit extreme, but hey, just before we go, I just wanted to quickly cover the other Appxium solutions. So we have launched TaxPay, which is designed to help your clients fund their ATO debt obligations. So obviously the ATO is on the warpath about, they're no longer a bank. General interest no longer deductible. Payment plans getting harder and harder to get. So instead of that, what we've launched is again, it's using the same platform as AuditSafe, but what it means is from within the platform, you can then introduce this lending facility to your clients. The loan interest rate's pretty attractive, flat fee 9% over 12 months, and it is an unsecured, personally guaranteed business-only loan. So it is an evergreen, fully revolving facility as well. So lots of firms are just using it to clear their existing tax debt as a bit of a refinancing strategy. Obviously, if you try to go to a bank with an ATO debt, they're not going to look too favourably at that. So they also just to clear it up, and so they can then get other sources of funding. Means they can just smooth out payments. So lots of businesses just can't afford it all in one big cash flow hit, so they can just smooth it out. It just gives them that extra line of credit. There's obviously also a whole bunch of your clients at the moment who probably are on existing ATO plans that are non-deductible. So it's a really good means of just flipping them off those payment plans onto a deductible payment plan as well. Just a quick call out, eligibility criteria does apply. So it is for good business looking to smooth out tax debt. It's not a lender of last resort or an asset-backed lender. Lots of providers in that space, but they're certainly not charging 9%, a lot higher than that. Our other platform, Collect, Gabor mentioned it quickly. It is automated invoicing, statement reminders, payment portal with a whole bunch of functionality. Too much to go into now, but what I thought I'd do is just say, hey, why would you consider Collect? If your debtor days are above 15, if you're looking to lower your transaction costs, especially as the RBA is looking to remove surcharging next June, so you really want to make sure you're on the lowest possible transaction rates, and Apxium can provide that. Built into the platform is fixed fee, auto debits, and engagement engine, and a really nice client experience. As you sort of saw with AuditSafe, it's a very much online digital experience. We can also save your admin team a whole bunch of time by automating the sending of invoices, statements, reminders, and the automatic reconciliation back into your practice management. We've also got a customer story, which I'll put into the downloads of Skybridge. So it's a really good customer story if you'd like to hear one firm's journey to automate their debtors. You're in good company. Apxium is a real global business. We're going huge in the US and Canada at the moment. We manage under over $3 billion in fees with over 1 million debtors in the platform, and lots of really big Australian businesses on the platform as well. I did mention the downloads. There's a fair bit in there. So there's the AuditSafe fact sheet. There's also the cover details if you want to go and have a look at what the client's actually signing up for. There's also that compliance risk report, which Gabor mentioned, and that Skybridge customer story. After today, we're going to send you out the return on investment calculator so you can put your numbers in, so you can work out is AuditSafe the right platform to take you forward. Included in that is also a podcast. So a couple of years ago, we interviewed another firm, Orient Partners, and so their practice manager, Rebecca, just gave us a little 7-minute spiel into their firm and what their experience was. We'll also send you a copy of today's recording so you can share that out with others as well. So what are the next steps? I'm available to take you through a bit of a personalized demonstration. Go and have a look at those materials that are coming your way, and we can set you up with a free, no obligation sandbox so you can go and test the end-to-end platform. Also, if you're interested in tax pay, we can send you an introducer agreement if you'd like to start discussing that with your clients. Just a final note from myself. Thank you for your time. Really appreciate it. Gabor, Jordan, and Brendan, any final comments from you guys?
I'm good, thanks.
Good, thanks.
Yeah,
Excellent.
I think we're okay.
Yeah. And thanks, Jordan. Thanks for coming on board. I really appreciate your insights into how Bartons have used the platform. But we'll end today's presentation. Thanks again for joining us. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
See you
mate.
later.
Cheers.